What was incredibly expensive 20 years ago, and is completely worthless today. I grew up thinking my dad's antiques were worth a fortune. Coasters, mandatory, and some rooms were off limits. When my dad died, we had the collection appraised. It was basically worthless. Antiques. My parents spent lavishly on antiques in the 1970s. My childhood was spent with coasters always required, even in my own room. I was constantly being told to be careful of the furniture. There were rooms I wasn't allowed in unsupervised, because I might knock over a Ming vase or something. When my father ran into financial troubles, he always counted on there being about $1 million worth of antiques in the house. My parents had spent maybe $250,000 in today's dollars to acquire their collection, and he assumed they had appreciated it, as antiques always had. When my father passed, we had an appraiser come out to value everything. We got quite a shock. The antique market had been flooded by all the elderly people dying with their huge antique collections. At the same time, younger, affluent people in their 30s and 40s no longer wanted or expected to pay $20,000 for an antique dresser. Because my father's antiques were so beaten up and needed restoration work, they couldn't even be sold for the severely depressed prices that were now available. Appraiser after appraiser told us the same thing. My father's priceless antiques were now basically firewood. I kept a couple of really neat pieces I had room for. Then we let a whole batch of them go for $500. We were happy to get that because otherwise, we'd have had to pay to get them moved somewhere else. Honestly, I'm just glad my father never found out they were worthless. And I try not to be bitter about the scoldings I received for leaving water rings on furniture that turned out to be less valuable than IKEA schlock.